Welcome students in today's business studies lecture. So our today's lecture is on Taylor's principle of scientific management, or we can say that Taylor's scientific principle of management. This is our chapter 2 and which is about to end. Under chapter 2 we have already discussed Henry Fayol's 14 principle, and now we are discussing Taylor's principle of management. And Taylor have given 4 principles. Out of that 2 already we have cleared or discussed. Now we are starting with our third principle of management, that is cooperation not individualism. This cooperation not individualism is actually an extension of second principle of given by Taylor, that is harmony not discord. Under this principle we have discussed already, but let me revise it so that it will be clear for you. Under this principle what we have discussed, that in an organization two groups are there, that is manager and worker, and both of them are equally important for an organization, and both of them are always thinking about their own self. Manager is thinking that they are doing hard for the organization, workers are thinking that they are doing hard for the organization. So there will be clashes between both the group, and if the clashes will arise between both the group, then eventually the organization have to suffer. So my dear students, what Taylor had discussed in the harmony not discord principle, that manager and workers should always think for each other. Manager should think for the workers, then there should be a positive feeling for each other. Workers should think for managers, and they should not think against each other, but they should think for each other. This means they should always think for each other, not against each other, because if they will think for each other, then they will both work for each other, and eventually the profit of the company will be increased. So this is what we have discussed in harmony not discord. And harmony not discord extension form is given under cooperation not individualism. Herein Taylor has suggested, or Taylor have insisted, that manager should always cooperate with the workers. He should not always think about individualism. Individualism means he should not always think that only I will take the decision, I am the person responsible for all the profit, I am the person responsible for taking all the actions in the organization. No, he should not always think of himself. There is no dictatorship in the organization. He should always cooperate with the workers. Whenever a manager is taking any decisions, he should first discuss that decisions with the workers. He should take suggestions from the workers, and eventually he have to implement the decision. This is what Taylor has suggested under cooperation not individualism, that manager should always take the suggestions from the workers. He should give initiative. Under Fayol's principle we have discussed one point, that is initiative. That means manager should always give workers initiative to take the decision, because if workers will take the decision and their decision have been implemented by the manager, then it is a general tendency, it is a human behavior that they will think that यार हमारा डिसीजन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में इम्प्लीमेंट करा है, दैट मीन्स वी आर इक्वली इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, सो वी शुड work hard to achieve our goal. This is a human tendency. See, again and again I am repeating that we are working, or we are discussing management. Management is nothing but management is just to manage the mindset of the employees. Management is managing the mindset of the employees, or I can say that management is managing the mains in the organization. Mains mean employees in the organization. So this is what the Taylor have been given, said that manager should always cooperate with the workers. He should not always think about individualism. So I have written some points here. Manager should not always think of individualism. That means when he is taking any decision, he should take suggestion from workers. Taylor insisted that targets are set up in consultation of workers, then they will try best to achieve it. Yes, if any decision have been taken by manager in consultation with the workers, then they will give their best, they will work hard to achieve that decision. But if manager have taken any decision and have forcefully implemented the decision on the workers, then workers will refrain from it. They will think that, oh, this decisions we have not taken, he is Hitler, he is dictator, we won't follow his decision. So eventually work will not happen. That's why when he wants to take out the work from the workers, he should ask them to give the suggestion. This is the policy given or principle given by Taylor. So this is our third principle. Now we'll discuss our fourth principle, that is development of workers to their greatest efficiency and prosperity. Development means to develop the workers physically, emotionally, mentally, so that they can work hard for the organization. And how the development of the workers can be done? By giving them proper training, regular training. Whenever any new machines have been installed in the organization, workers should have been given an opportunity to learn how to work on that machines. New personality development classes have to be given. So different things and different tactics a manager have to adopt in his organization to develop the workers. Because if workers are developed, then their prosperity will increase, then their efficiency will increase to work hard for the organization. Because there is one very good saying that workers or employees are the assets of the organization. If you want to take best use of this assets, then you have to implement some force to take out the best from this assets. So Taylor has suggested that if you want to take best from this assets, you have to give them proper training, you have to develop their mental skills, you have to develop their technical skills. So under this principle, Taylor suggested in this principle that on regular basis training should have to be imparted to the workers in order to boost up their efficiency. So if training have been imparted on regular basis, then automatically their efficiency will increase. They know how to do the work, they know how to do the proper work, so they will not misuse the resources. Also, Taylor emphasizes that due care should have to be taken while selecting and training to the employees, and the work should be given according to their capability. Also, Taylor have emphasized that while selecting the employees in the organization, proper care have to be taken that the correct person have been selected, and proper training have to be given to them. Because if correct person have not been selected, if proper training have not been given to them, then there are no use of selecting any employee or worker in the organization, because they will just come, sit for the whole day. They will go with the taking the wages of the day. So if any employee is selected, that employee should have to be properly used, and for doing this, proper training have to be done by the manager to the workers. So this is all 4 Taylor's principle given by. Let us take review of this. First principle given by Taylor is science, not rule of thumb. This we have discussed, that manager should always scientific is in decision. He should not always stuck to the thumb rule that anything, he should not always fix to anything that only this will work. No, he should always think about scientific, because under management we are not, because in management we are not dealing with machines, but we are dealing with human beings. So that's why you cannot fix to any particular thing. You have to always keep your approach scientific. Means you have to always implement the thing, then you have to see its result. If it's positive, then well and good. Otherwise you have to make some little bit changes, because you want to manage workers, and workers behavior, workers nature is unpredictable. You have to adjust yourself with the workers if you want to take full and optimum utilization of your workers or the resources. Second principle is harmony, not discord. Already this we have discussed here. Harmony, not discord means in an organization there should be proper harmony between manager and worker. They should not think against each other, but they should think for each other. Third is cooperation, not individualism, that every manager in the organization should cooperate with the workers. He should not always think about individualism. whenever he is taking any decision, he have to take that suggestions or consult with the workers, because this will increase their morale also. They will motivate by, if you are taking suggestion from them, then they will also motivate that yes, we are very important for the organization, that's why manager have taken decision from us. So this will increase their morale. Fourth is development of workers to their greatest efficiency and prosperity. That means Taylor has suggested that workers should have to be given proper training, and development of workers have to be done, because if workers have been developed, then they can work to their greatest efficiency and their living standard or their prosperity will increase. So this, till now in this chapter we have already completed our Fayol's principle, Taylor's principle. Now next last thing remaining in this chapter, in our chapter 2, that is techniques of scientific management given by Taylor's. So in the next lecture we will complete that thing, so that our second chapter will complete, and then we will move to our third chapter. Thank you so much students. Stay tuned, stay home, stay safe. Thank you. Welcome students in today's business studies lecture. Our today's topic is techniques of scientific management. These techniques are also given by F.W. Taylor, apart from giving the principles of management. We already have discussed in our previous slide that F.W. Taylor have given 4 scientific management principles. Other than that, he have also given some techniques of scientific management, that are 7 techniques. Now the question arises, why these 7 techniques are given by F.W. Taylor? So here the answer is, F.W. Taylor have given these techniques of scientific management because these techniques will help the workers to increase their efficiency, their level of working, their enthusiasm, their motivation, their zeal to work. These techniques will help a manager to bring best out of the workers. That's why Taylor have given some techniques. We all know that this Taylor's principles are applicable in the technical field. Again and again in the previous slide I have discussed, and I have noted on this point. So Taylor's principle will be applicable on the workers, and actually this factory is a workplace where actual production is happening. And if the workers who are working in the factories, if they are not properly motivated, if they are not properly guided, then the cost of production of the company will increase. That's why in order to increase their efficiency, in order to reduce the cost of production, because we all know that if the cost of production will reduce, then only the profit margin will increase. This is why going in direct relationship, when cost of production will decrease, profit will increase. It eventually happens. So when a company wants to increase the profit margin and decrease the cost of production, they want that their workers should work with the full efficiency. And for making their workers to work with full efficiency, Taylor have given some techniques. So he have given altogether 7 techniques. So now in this lecture and in the coming videos, we will discuss these 7 techniques. First technique is these techniques will be helpful to increase the workers' efficiency. First technique given by F.W. Taylor is functional foremanship. Foremanship means factory manager. Foreman can understood in the other form as a factory manager, means the person who is responsible for undertaking all the activities of the factory. Now functional foremanship means a single foreman in a factory. There are so many work have to be done. That means he have to check whether workers are reporting on time. He have to make ensure that the workers are working with the full efficiency. He have to make ensure that the quality is maintained. He have to make sure that there is no misuse of raw material. He also have to maintain that whether the machines are working properly or not. He also have to maintain whether the machines have to be repaired or not. So there are so many works in a factory have to be done, and for undertaking that work a foreman is required. But here I am asking you one question, students. Can one single foreman able to undertake all this work? Can he will take care of the workers' timing, He will single take care the discipline, whether the workers are disciplined, whether the workers are punctual, whether the quality is maintained or not, whether the time or cost sheet have been followed or not. Time and cost sheet means every organization is fixing some time for making the goods. So whether the workers are following that or not, all the norms are followed or not, whether the quality is maintained or not, whether the machines are working properly or not. So can a single person can able to perform all this work? No. That's why Taylor have said that foremen have to be divided according to their functions, that is on the basis of their working. On the basis of this, the factory manager have been divided in two departments, that is planning in charge and production in charge. So altogether, according to the Taylor, he has suggested that there are altogether 8 foremen should be in a company. If you want that your workers should be working with full efficiency, there should be 8 foremen, and that foremen should be divided into two departments, planning department, production department. There will be one planning in charge and there will be one production in charge. So first 4 are put in the planning in charge, and other 4 are put in the production in charge. So first foreman will be disciplinary. I have made it very short, in a short form, so that you can easily remember, is dirt and gears. That means there are altogether 8 foremen, so they are divided into dirt and gears. Dirt means disciplinary, I for instruction card clerk, R for route clerk, T for time and cost clerk. Gears, G for gang boss, I for inspector, R for repair boss, and S for speed boss. This is how Taylor have divided the different work of foremen in the different category, and this all are single foreman. The person who will look after the discipline in the organization, discipline of the workers, he will be known as disciplinary foreman. Other person who is looking after the instruction card means every now and then the managers is giving some instruction to the workers, orders to the worker. So it is a responsibility of this instruction card clerk to make sure that the proper instructions are given to the workers. Route clerk means for producing every good there is some method have to be followed. So this route clerk will make sure that workers are following that method or not. Time and cost clerk, already I have told you, time and cost clerk means for producing every good there is some time, standard time have been fixed, and workers have to produce that goods within that standard time. And for producing every good there is one cost is also fixed, that suppose for producing 1 unit only 10 rupees will be engaged. So cost clerk will make sure that only 10 rupees are engaged for producing 1 unit. So this foreman is known as time and cost clerk. Gang boss is a foreman who is actually undertaking all the tools and equipments of the factory, means all the tools, accessories, equipments are within the custody of gang boss. Inspector is the foreman who is actually ensuring the quality of the goods. Repair boss, from the name itself it's clear, repair boss means he is a person who is repairing all the machines and all the equipments in the organization. Speed boss is a person who is watching whether the work is happening or the task is achieving according to the speed determined by top level and middle level or not. So this all are the 8 foremen, and this all work are different from each other. That's why single person have not been made to do all this work. This work have been divided into 8 person. And the most important thing is every worker have to work under this 8 foremen, means at every moment of time he have to take orders from gang boss also, inspector also, repair boss also, speed boss also, disciplinary also, instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk. See, do you remember that in the Henry Fayose we have discussed one principle, that is unity of command. If you remember, I have told you in unity of command that one person will receive order from only one person. He cannot receive order from two person, because if he will receive order from two person, then his efficiency will decrease. So he will receive order from only one person. But here I am saying that this worker will receive order from 8 person, means he have to work under 8 person. So Fayol is saying that unity of command should be there, but this functional foremanship is actually violating the Henry Fayol's principle given by unity of command, because here worker is not receiving order from one, but he is receiving order from all the person. Also, this functional foremanship is an extension of principle division of work. In the Fayol's first principle is division of work. This functional foremanship is extension. There also we are dividing the work, but here we are dividing the work at the utmost level. So these two Henry Fayol's principles are coming in the functional foremanship. So this is all about today's lecture. We will continue with our next technique, that is method study, in the next lecture. Thank you.